Welcome back to the second to last edition of Knowledge Gumbo Conversations. Because, as I said previously, me and my dad are going to be hitting the road in the RV, and it's going to give me a chance to check out some historical sites and everything and bring some of that kind of content to you to hopefully encourage you to learn more about these people, but also when you're on vacation to take some time to learn about these people. So the plan was to leave in March. So I only have live scheduled out this week and next week. So next week should be the last one uh, for a while until we figure out all the internet and streaming stuff and seeing what's possible as we're on the road. So let me get back to starting the way we normally start. A reminder for you and for me: you are loved, you are smart, you are kind, you are important, you are needed, you are necessary. There are holes in this world and in people's lives that only you can fill. And this month, let me slip this out for a minute. This month, we are dealing with the theme of faith and spiritual leadership. And the one thing that kept recurring to me was that we need to start with leadership in the home. Whether if you're single like me and you don't have a spouse, you still have a personal responsibility to lead your own self in your faith walk, to not let it slide, to build levels of accountability because you don't have a spouse to run ideas off of, seek advice, to have someone speak life into you, to speak life to you, speak life and truth to you, that sometimes it's gonna hurt your feelings, it's gonna bruise a little bit, but you've given that person permission to speak into your life. So we need to work on our personal leadership for ourselves. And that needs to start at home, because you cannot be a faith or a spiritual leadership and your home life is wrecked and your home life is jacked. And we have to realize too that leadership at home also includes submission. For a little side tangent to all the single ladies out there who say they're not going to get married because, from a spiritual sense, because they're not submitting to any man. Submission is required. The only thing you need to realize is that the man in your life, your husband, your spouse, they need to be submitted to God. Because if they're submitted to God and they're surrounded by a council of godly men, godly friendships, submitting to Him is easy, because you trust the God you submit to make Him accountable. And you don't have to worry and you don't have to fear. All of it makes submission easy, as long as He's submitting and then you submit. But even before He shows up, like I said, we have a personal responsibility to lead ourselves, and we have to be submitted to God so that He will send the right people, the right friends, and the right spouse when and if the time comes, because it doesn't necessarily have to come. May have been called to singleness. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not a disease. It doesn't say anything about your character. That is what you've been called to do, and that is what you should spearhead. And like I said, all of that is a part of us as spiritual beings, people of faith, taking a leadership role in our own homes, in our own lives. So let's get down, family, to it's time for speak your piece or save your piece. Um, uh, this is where I give you a situation and we can discuss together, is this something you speak on, or if this is something you release to protect your personal peace. So let me know in the comments. Someone says prayer should replace protest. Do you respond or let the statement sit? For me, I would definitely have to say something, because prayer should be the first thing, but it shouldn't be the only thing. Let me say it again. Prayer should be the first thing, but not the only thing, because we tend to flip that around where we do everything that we know how to do. And then when we've exhausted ourselves, then we look to prayer and we treat God like a genie, where you're going to rub this lamp and get what you're supposed to get and now be able to do what you weren't able to do before. So for me, I would just say prayer is the first step. And then you got to take action to prepare the way for what you prayed for. You have to walk out on faith that you're believing that your prayer will be answered. And you're preparing the way for that. So for me, I'd have to say something. Because faith, it's faith and works. The works don't matter to your salvation, but the works are a reflection of your salvation. The works are a reflection of you honoring your commitment and your faith. So let me know below. What would you do if someone says prayer should replace protest? And as we wrap this up and I talk about something that I recently learned, I've been looking over the past few weeks, looking more into Lent, looking at comparison between Protestant Christianity and Orthodox, and seeing where they're similar and seeing where they part. And it had me thinking, today, of course, is Ash Wednesday, the beginning of the Lenten season. And I realized and I learned that today is the start, of course, of Lent, but it is also the start of Ramadan. And I thought that had to be an interesting dynamic, because that doesn't happen every day, or at least I didn't think it would happen every day. So I went and looked it up to see how often it happens, because, of course, both Lent and Ramadan move based on the calendars that they follow, with Lent being a little bit more restrictive and Ramadan being able to happen at any particular time. So I went into Claude actually, and asked, what is the occurrence of Ramadan and Lent starting on the same day? And it gave me back the information that this convergence, it hasn't happened since 1863. But the kicker is it won't happen again until 2189, 163 years from now. So that makes this occurrence incredibly rare and it happens once every 163 years. Go figure. That's it for this week's Knowledge Gumbo Conversations. I'd love to hear what resonated with you. If you disagree with some of the things we said, please put it in the comments. Just do it respectfully. We can disagree without being disagreeable. So type all that in the comments. If you haven't already, please join our Gumbo family through the newsletter. It's where our community comes together, one story at a time, where I'm sharing success stories of Black women. Okay? And if you've already signed up, thank you. And for those who are signing up, again, thank you. And I will see you in your inbox on Friday morning. But in the meantime, let's keep the conversations going, because things only go wrong once the conversation stops and we stop listening to one another. Let's be open. Let's be honest. Let's learn from each other and love on each other. Thank you again for sharing the greatest gift, one of the greatest gifts you can share with another person, and that is the gift of time. Definitely see you all for one final live until we work out the traveling thing next week. Have a great one.
Beat drops heavy, heartbeat steady, ready.
Check the mirror, see a queen in the reflection. No doubt, full steam, no signs of deflection. Crown on my curls, word